wallowing for a moment, okay, give yourself some grace, wallow a little bit. But if you just wallow, you're just going to stay there. Like, imagine a pig in a mud pit. Like, they're just wallowing around in the mud. Are they accomplishing anything besides like making themselves dirty and maybe cooling themselves off? No. What's going to get them out of the pit? Okay, maybe there's some food over here, the little slop buckets over yonder. They have to get out of the mud pit and walk over there and actively do that. That's the pushing yourself harder. That you're in your comfort zone when you're in the wallow, when you're in that mud pit. You're all comfortable. You're enjoying it. Not knowing that you could enjoy that slop bucket all the better if you just got out of your comfort zone, push yourself a little hard. It's a little belabored, the analogy, but I think you're getting it. And walk over there and get to the food. And it's like a lot of times we just neglect the better. This is why you push yourself harder. This is why you've done 75 hard and you've had amazing results. That's why I'm doing my sabbatical to 50. We're pushing harder because we see the bigger picture of the end goal. I want to be a stud in this physical body. I want my mind to be sharper than it is now. And Brittany's like, Lord, help us. Like, I have bigger picture goals that makes me push harder. Makes me, when my left ankle is still tweaking, makes me get stung on my ear and I still go. You push harder because there are bigger reasons why you're doing it.
Keto Chow is a customizable shake mix that is also perfect for cooking and baking, giving you simple, nutritionally perfect meal options. Keto Chow. Make keto easy. Discover your favorite flavor at jimmylovesketochow.com.
Yes. And again, I go back to what I was saying early on about when I was doing my 10 minutes. It's all a mental thing. We convince ourselves that we can't get out of the wallowing in the pit, and even the food's right there. We can see it. We convince ourselves, oh, it's so far. I can't do that. We convince ourselves that we can, but in actuality, we have all the capabilities. It's just our mind telling us that we can't. And like, I've proven that to myself. 2020 was my year of wallowing. Hell, I think a lot of us wallowed in 2020. We didn't know what the hell to do, okay? We was all just kind of spiraling. And I just so happened to have this other life event going on, as did you. Like, we both had our own life stuff on top of everything else that was happening. So it was a year where I laid down in that mud pit and I just wallowed all around. But that's not who I am. That's not who I am at my core. And so 75 Hard has given me that mental toughness back that I used to be. I hate the no excuses thing. I hate using that terminology, but really no excuses for myself, that I'm going to find a way to do something. And this will be the first place that I announce this. I know I've told you and Wildman knows, but 75 Hard doesn't just stop at 75 Hard for me. There's phase 1, there's phase 2, there's phase 3. And once phase 3 is complete, that's considered the Live Hard program. It's an entire year of 75 Hard. And I've dedicated to do that. Like, that's what I want to do. I have gotten to the point where I must push myself, because I know the personal development, the growth, the change, it comes from getting out of the comfort zone and getting into the uncomfortable. And so I know with the big goals and dreams that I have for myself 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's going to require that I push myself and that I learn to back off in the areas where I'm pushing too hard.
Yes. Girl, that's the big lesson I've learned in mine so far. I came out guns blazing, and anybody that hasn't seen all of the things I'm doing, just hop over to livinglavidalowcarb.com/sabbatical, STAY, sabbatical, like sabbatical, except stay. And I've got all of the posts that I've done. It's intense, all the things that I'm doing, but by design. I wanted it to challenge me. I wanted it to push me harder. And it has. And I came out guns blazing doing all those things. And lo and behold, 4 days later, I woke up and I could not move. And then like I did 3 more days, and then again, and so I'm adjusting along the way, so I don't have to have that kind of a please recuperate my body kind of day. Now I know you don't get those with 75 Hard, but yeah. I'm learning to still push harder and push myself, but not to the point of detriment. And there is that tricky balance. And of course, we're talking a lot about a physical thing, but this applies in a lot of different ways. Physically pushing yourself too hard, your body's eventually going to say, okay, whoa, 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 we're going to make you. And you've experienced some of that, and you've adjusted. You haven't stopped, but you've adjusted. And what was that one day that you could just barely even move? And so you're just like, I'm just going to do this. That's all I can do. And that's what I'm going to do. And you did. And that's pushing yourself harder, because you would have the excuse, well, my back hurts. I can't physically walk. So what am I going to do? And so you've been an inspiration to me to make those modifications and listen to my body and adjust and adjust and adjust. Because see, the alternative is stopping altogether. And to me, that's not an option, because the moment you stop is the moment you develop a habit of stop. And the moment you keep going and you push harder is the moment you create a habit of going forward. How much of our lives have we hit some little adversity and bam, just stop because of the adversity? What would have happened to our brain noodles had we kept going, pushing harder, even if it was a lot less intensity or whatever, but still kept going? We would learn that when things get hard, you don't quit, you carry on. And that's your push harder in that moment.
We're so used to not pushing harder, and we're so used to breaking our promises to ourselves that we can't trust ourselves anymore. And I know that's where I was. But the more you push yourself when it's hard, and you push harder and you go more, the more you're keeping your promises to yourself, and you begin to trust yourself again, and it becomes second nature. So when I started 75 hard, I said, no way in hell am I doing phase 1. Y'all crazy. Not happening. Well, then I started, I got about 20 days in. I said, oh yeah, I'm doing phase 1 and also phase 2. No problem. Got that. Phase 3, hell no, I ain't doing that. Nope. Goes right through my 30th birthday. No, not doing that. And lo and behold, within the last few days, I was like, I can't not do that. I can't not do that. I must push myself. I have kept my promises to myself over and over and over every single day for 59 days straight. I can't stop now. And what a birthday present it would be to myself to continue to keep that promise to myself on my 30th birthday. What would that say for me to keep that promise?
Yes, when you turn old, you want to feel good. So I joke with her because I'm turning 50, so I'm one to talk. So yes, yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's great. And you just outlined something really interesting on this pushing yourself harder. When you do, you open your mind to, I can do anything. And when you get to that point in your head where you feel like the sky's the limit, you can do anything. When you hit that 10-minute mile today, you're like, I can do anything. It's so empowering. And then it manifests in other parts of your life, that when you have that empowerment, and we both have had great weight loss success stories before, like when you've hit that 100 pounds lost, like there's just such an empowerment to that you feel that you have this sense of accomplishment, that you can do anything. And then it shows up in your confidence, and it shows up in other areas of your life that then people notice. It's maybe not even the physical changes they notice, wow, you just present yourself in a different way. And it's because you were willing to push yourself harder.
Confidence is something that it doesn't come from within you. Like, you have to create that. Confidence is not just something that you're born with. Like, you have to create confidence within yourself by keeping your promises to yourself and pushing yourself harder and doing the things. And we've been pushing a lot in this episode talking about physical things, but taking it another route, let's go writing, for example. So I was pushing myself. I had a deadline because I work very good with deadlines. And this is where knowing when to back off, writing has helped me learn that and hone that skill. I'm still baby Brittany in this area. So I was doing, and things were coming easier, and it was good, and it was great. And then I just hit this roadblock. And I would come in here and I would stare at my screen, because I convinced myself that if I just stare at my screen long enough, something will happen. Something will come. And I would stare and I would stare and I would stare. And because I was trying to push harder, right? Laugh away. Yeah, I was trying to push harder, right? I'm going to push myself. Something's going to come up. And finally, I remember just breaking it down to Jimmy one day, and he's like, leave the room, go out, just get out. And so I did. I got out. I actually got out for a couple of days, which is outside of my comfort zone because I want to push. But I backed off. And when I finally hit, I actually, because of my back, have taken 2 weeks off of riding. What that has done up here. Oh, it's been a battle. But when I got back to it yesterday, it just flowed. It just kept coming. I couldn't stop. I just kept going. And so that's when you have to know when to push yourself and when to back off, because sometimes in backing off, just like you did physically, the next day that comes after that, you have the energy to push even harder.
Let's go back to when I injured my ankle on Saturday. Let's say Sunday, I went out on the trail because by golly, I got to push harder, and I limped my way through a 60-minute workout. Would I have felt as good as I did Monday? No, I wouldn't have. Monday, I got back out there, and I was like almost all the way better. I would say I was probably 90-95% of what I was. And I had a pretty bad, majorly twisted left ankle, and it's still tweaked a little bit now, but I'm able to put weight on it. I climbed stairs to kind of test the weight on it. And I was like, all right, I can feel it, but it's not painful. It's just like, all right, it's annoying, but it's there. It would have been easy to say, well, I got to push harder. And by the way, I'm proud of you that you took that time off that you did. As a writer of 9 books, I can tell you that's normal. That's part of the process. And I was giving you some of that feedback as well. It's like, writers don't write every day and like they're not machines, and you're trying to be a machine with this. And you learn the lesson of when to back off so that when you are ready to come back, you push harder, and you had excellent. I haven't had a chance to look at the 2 entries you sent me, but I know they're going to be bang up because it was like back to back. You were pumping it out. And when it's flowing, when you're a writer and you've got that going in your blood, you don't lose that. You run with it. In fact, you were like, I got 2-3 more in me, but I got to go do other things in my life. And it's cool. Like when you get that. And so completely normal. And that recharge, let's kind of focus on that when you should not push yourself harder. That recharge that you get for you intellectually and emotionally in your head and everything, so you can be ready to write, that is just as important as the pushing yourself and the writing itself. Think about the gym. When you go to the gym and you work out those muscles, you're not going to go back to the gym the very next day and work those same muscles. You've got to let those muscles rest, recuperate, grow, get stronger. And that's what happened for you in your writing. Was over that 2-week period, you allowed that rest in your mind. And you had some stuff happening in your life and other things, but you let that rest happen in your mind so that by yesterday, you were ready to go. You were ready to push. You were going to push yourself because you're like, all right, I got this. Let's go, Britt. And you did it.
Yeah. And I think that's a big lesson for me, and maybe anybody watching or listening, maybe you're like me. Okay. It's not hard for me to push harder. I don't quit kind of person until I do. And then when I quit, I commit. I just quit all the way. We're quitting. Oh gosh, like last year in my life, I just all the way, we're quitting. But it's all or nothing for me, and it always has been that way. But that is where I'm learning that it doesn't have to be all or nothing, that I can push myself, and I can also learn and be comfortable with backing off when I need that rest. I think about my back for the past, gosh, it's been 3 weeks now. And I had to I had to stay out of my home gym. I couldn't lift weights. There was things that I couldn't do. I'd be so frustrated. I'd go in there. I'd try to lift a little bit, try to do this or this or this. And it would always result in me walking. And I'd get so frustrated. But I took 3 weeks of mostly doing nothing but walking for my 2 exercises, or my 2 workouts per day. If I had not done that, there is no way that, number one, I would have been able to finish 75 hard. If I kept pushing myself and pushing myself, I would have injured my back to the point where I couldn't move at all. So I had to back off. And in that backing off, then I was able to go into the gym the last 3 days and absolutely kill it. But I wouldn't have been able to do that had I not backed off.
And finding that balance between backing off so that you can recuperate, so you can push harder and